against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. We must never let the weight of this combination endanger our liberties or democratic processes. We should take nothing for granted. Only an alert and knowledgeable citizenry can compel the proper meshing of the huge industrial and military machinery of defense with our peaceful methods and goals, so that security and liberty may prosper together.
Well, hey everybody. Welcome back. Tomorrow. Last night got a little nuts. Internet dropped out, and I was sitting here talking to you, and next thing I realized that the chat wasn't responding, and you guys who were hanging around, well, you know the rest. Rick, good to see you. Peter, I appreciate the kind words, sir. Hope you hang around to watch and see what we come up with. So last night we got to talking about a certain subject, and then all of a sudden I get shut down. And you could conspiracy theory it all day long. I think it was just winkadinks, because I've been having problems with my internet for a while. Hell, it might happen tonight, so be forewarned. But as soon as I mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene, I just find it suspicious is all. Yeah. I went back, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with who Tim Pool is, but he's pretty much he's pretty big in alt media. He's got his own show. He's got 3 different shows. He's got his own website. He does his own thing, and he's an actual journalist. He does a lot of opinion pieces, but he also does journalism. He was he was a boots on the ground conflict reporter, is what he was. He's kind of got out of that and, starting his own business. It's much safer that way. But he's got a show on YouTube. I highly recommend it. It's called Timcast IRL. Go check it out. He's got a lot of controversial guests on there, according to mainstream media. He's alt-right, and he's about as left as... He's not a lefty, he's a liberal. And he's what you would call a classical liberal, which means he's on the right. Just weird now. But anyway, Senator Marjorie Taylor Greene was on his show, and she started talking about all kinds of different stuff. And now, I'm not getting political here. This goes into what we were talking about and how much they hide things. The government hides things, usually in plain sight. They'll come forward with a little tidbit of information, a little sleight of hand, if you will. They do a lot of that. Yeah, it was a good interview. I highly recommend it. And she just let it all fly. It wasn't long after that he got what they call swatted. Someone called in a hoax report that and people were relieved of their life of this world. and that the person who did the killing was getting ready to kill themselves. So they show up right in the middle of a broadcast, right in the middle of the police show up at his place of business, his residence, right there in the middle of live a live internet stream, a live broadcast. The police show up, and he has to deal with all that. Now, they were really lucky. A lot of you who are not familiar with this and what goes on with this could get really dangerous really quick. Because you see what happens is the police come in hot normally. They got really, like I said, they got really lucky. Hey, everybody. Dylan, Ray, it's good to see you. Look, if the situation had been just a slight difference, one way or the other, someone could have gotten hurt or killed. Because they show up to a residence, they thinking that, there's going to, the call is a murder, double homicide, and someone threatened to kill themselves and maybe somebody else, and they come in hot. Now, somebody in that house could have been shot and killed. It very well could have happened. The gentleman on there, one of the co-hosts, his name is Ian Crossland. He was like this close from, being off camera and bolting from the room. And if they hadn't showed up when they did, and he hadn't hesitated, he would have been running. He'd been sprinting down that hallway, and they could have thought, hey, here's the perp, and they probably would have drawn down on him. He wouldn't have known what was going on. He might have gotten shot and killed. The whole point of what I'm trying to tell you about this is that there are names out there and that have nothing to do with politics. There are big names out there who are uncovering a lot of bullshit that we've been lied to about. And they're getting threatening emails. They're, strange stuff is happening to them, financially, and what have you. And they're being attacked by this. And here's the thing. If they don't want something to be known and there's somebody in the background digging around, they're going to try and stop them. You follow me? I hope I'm being clear and I'm not, clear as mud. But lots of times they will hide things in plain sight. A lot of, like I said, a lot of sleight of hand, a lot of misdirection. Can you guys hear me? Was I muted the whole time? Oh, Lord. Was I muted the whole time? Holy shit. It's going to be one of those nights. It's going to be one of those nights. Heaven help me. All right, I will do that. I will do that. But could you guys hear anything I just said? Or was I muted the whole time? Oh, good. Well, hopefully I don't get cut off tonight. That I was so mad. Uh, you know, at a certain point, you can only do so much. It said I did a six. It said I did a 6.5 hour live stream. 6.5 hours. Good God. Now, I've known a lot of gamers that do 8 hour streams. They just get on and just keep going and going and going and going and going and going. Holy hell. How do you guys do that? Now, I used to be able to sit in front of a gaming console and game because I'd get into it and I just wouldn't stop. I'd pretty much be doing it all day if I had an off day. 6.5 hours, though. Ugh. But let's get back to it. I digress. There's a lot out there that the government don't want us to know, and they'll do what they have to do to keep it quiet. Why that is, I don't know. We sit back and talk about how, everything's connected. And there's a reason why our government disclosed their information on UFOs or UAPs now when they did. I fully believe that there was some type of misdirection. There was something going on. People were hoping that either one, they wouldn't pay too much attention to it, or they would pay enough attention to it to where they wouldn't see what else was going on. I know that sounds very conspiratorial, but we're dealing with our government here. And we already know what type of shysters they are. So, could very well be. But there's so many of us who Earth Files. Okay. Let's check that out. Okay, yeah. Reported and edited by Linda Moulton Howe. Okay, already I'm hooked. It's not no, it's really not. But there are so many people who buy the lie, hook, line, and sinker. And when you sit back and you think about why they do that, part of me sits back and says, I can't blame them. Who wants that doom and gloom in their life all the time? And there's a certain point where, there's only so much you can do. I mean, but there are people who rather just bury their head in the sand. And like I said, I can understand why. I can totally understand why. Like, there's so many people in my life that are normies. They just haven't been woke up to the truth. And they would rather not be. they would shake their head. I ain't got time for all that. I ain't got time for all that. It's happening right to you, right in front of you. And most people just don't care to listen. They'd rather have their freedoms taken away. And that in Dwight Eisenhower's speech, I wanted to play that because he gave his big speech about and warning about the military-industrial complex and its dangers. And he said, an alert, vigilant society is the only thing that would hold that in check. But unfortunately, our complacency has let us down. Our complacency has let evil in the door. So there's a reason so many conspiracies. I should have called tonight's episode, instead of Bigfoot, lies, and videotape, I should have called it the Conspiracy Corner. The real power in the government is something I'm finding out. Most of America says, it's the president. The president is the most powerful man in America or in the world, the leader of the free nation. Here's the thing. He's an elected official, and his job is temporary, 8 years tops. He's only going to be in office for 8 years. And the simple fact of the matter is this. There are things that even the president, is not allowed to know. There's not a single president that's been on the base of Area 51. Not a single one. They don't have the clearance. Think about that. Chew on that for a minute. They're temporary. They don't need to know everything. Think about that. And the real power is held in the halls of Congress and the Senate. When it comes to our government. And they keep us hidden away. And they keep us in the dark about all kinds of stuff. So this is, and like I said, it's not political. I'm not political. I'm not holding up one political party or the other. I think they all suck. There is a small handful. Yes, indeed, Eisenhower was military, Ray, and he knew what that was all about, and he saw the writing on the wall. He gave us a warning about how bad things could get, because once he got out and once he became president, he was on the outside looking in. It's like, okay, look, you guys need to stop this. You need to rein this in. You need to keep it in check. But no, they didn't. We didn't. And you're right, Ray. Yeah, absolutely. The president is only the front man, and he doesn't know everything. I want to say both Clinton and Obama were on the Late Show, and everybody asked them about UFOs. And they were like, well, I don't know. Maybe. It's like they don't know. Fort Detrick. 27 years is a long time. You know, I went back and looked at some of these articles that I pulled up, and there's a lot of fiction sprinkled with truth. Just there's a smidgen of here and there. It's aggravating. Okay, since you brought that up, is YouTube doesn't like for anybody to talk about it because they're in on it. If something happens, my YouTube channel goes down, I'm going to try to be on either Rumble or Odyssey. BitChute. I've got a BitChute channel I have done nothing with in over a year, and I'm probably going to try and pick that back up because they're a lot freer. I can speak my mind there. I can go off the chain. But it's already been discussed about that. Okay. Oh, crap. Hold on just a second. Trying to straighten some things out here. Well, it's a bit of a delay. Got to be my own admin to remove some of these. I don't know. I don't know what's up with those foreign faction bots. It looks Russian. I don't know. No, I did not know that, Ray. I will. I've been leaning toward using Odyssey. Rumble's got something good going on too because they've there was Dave Rubin had developed this site called Locals, and he sold it to Rumble, and I'm on Locals. I just haven't started a whole channel there, and I could do that. And it would be beneficial for me to do that. The same thing of it is, and Tim Pool brought up a really good point. It's just until these other platforms have the audience revenue, there's not a whole lot of choice Um, I don't like YouTube censorship. I hate it, but they gonna do what they're gonna do. Thought I had everything set up right, but apparently not. That's some old footage of mine that I've pulled up. I was going to try and show everybody tonight. Now I'm getting ready to show some pictures here of that horse that was sent to me. If you guys are still interested, I'm going to pop these up. And just be warned. I mean, they're pretty graphic, so I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to just look away. Yeah, Ray, that's right. That's why I've been kind of hard looking at Odyssey. But this is one of these things that these pictures that were sent to me. It's one of these things they cover up or make light of. I don't know why. But if you take a hard look at this one right here, this is the horse. And if you look at this, you look at this hole in its chest right here. Okay, and it goes all the way down. And this is where it was found. Totally exsanguinated. Here's another part. If you see the hindquarters right there, it looks like it's been a hole been eaten out of it. Look at that. And that hair, you look around where its belly is, you can see where there's hair there. And I saw that. It's in the documentary. No blood anywhere. A critter that size is going to leave blood if it's going to be, hollowed out. Anybody who's been around it knows exactly what a mess that makes. Whether you've been working on a farm or whether you've been, a hunter for an X amount of years, you know exactly what they do. Okay, I will. It's one of those things they cover up. Now I'm going to show you something else, and this is nothing so graphic, but it's weird. Okay, and this picture, I'm going to show you. I found on a trail. That's when I was out, hot and heavy, boots on the ground, and this right here. If you look on the left, that's a possum track. You look on the right, that's a tiny handprint the same size as that possum track. And this is out in the middle of nowhere. That's crazy. Look how small that is. And I didn't find that once, but I found it twice. So here's the deal. I'm sitting back thinking, what have we been being lied to about? And why are we being lied to? That's the $1,000,000 question. Personally, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that whatever is out there will, open our eyes. Ray, you said knowledge is power, and that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. And the less we know, the easier we are to control. So they want to keep us dumbed down. And the label conspiracy theorist was a phrase that was coined by who else but a little group I like to call Christians in Action. They're responsible for that. And there's so many people out there who are ready to throw that label on ideas that don't fit their paradigm. And it's just, sometimes it really frustrates me because I guess just knowing isn't enough. Some people are so die hard on facts this and facts that. It's like, okay, I've said this once, I'll say it again. There is an embarrassing amount of evidence and it's paranormal research altogether that there is life after death. There are spirits roaming this earth for whatever reason. There are creatures roaming this earth that like to stay hidden, that like to stay in the shadows and don't like us very much. There are extraterrestrial life that come here and visit this planet. I wholeheartedly believe that, and I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about that. And the reason why I say that is because I've seen too much and I know too much. Now, there is a there was another great reset, according to some individuals. And I've just become recently aware of this. And for those of you who are tuning in late, and those of you who are tuning in after the live stream, please leave a comment in the section below if you're familiar with what I'm about to say. This theory of this reset is called the Great Mud Flood. Okay, and it goes back to Ray, what you said. The winner writes the story, and you're absolutely right. The winner of the conflict writes the story. To this day, I say one of the greatest travesties in human history was the burning of the Library of Alexandria that held so much knowledge. Knowledge that could never be recovered. There are only certain people that have access. And the rabbit hole goes so deep, that it's once you jump in it, it's hard to find your way back out. It's a fact. So I mean, I've got proof. My own proof. Well, I've been doing this for a while. I started getting out, poking around in the woods, and going places other people said, "Why in the hell are you doing that? You're nuts." Carrie Arnold come right out and said, "Brother, be so careful out there. You're nuts for getting out there and doing that all by yourself." Carrie said that. I said, I appreciate that. And I'd rather not be out here by myself, but ain't nobody coming with me. I'll let people know where I'm at, what I'm doing, and I give them a time frame when I'm going to be back and doing this, that, and the other. And well, if I don't make it back, they'll know where to start looking. I've had some crazy shit happen to me out in the woods. Enough for them to let me know that they were there without actually showing themselves. It's a long time I've been doing this. All in all, probably about 6, 7 years now. I started in 2015, I guess. And then when I first started, I just stumbled across Sasquatch Chronicles, and they were pirated episodes. They were put on YouTube. Back when, and there were the early ones back when William Jevning was still with Wes, and they were partners in the whole deal. And, Woody would jump on from time to time. But yeah, that's what sparked it. That's what set me off. And, I wasn't out and about. I wasn't out in the woods then. I was doing my own armchair quarterback research, my own little investigations, just listening to the stories, putting 2 and 2 together. And then me and the family moved from where we were at to where we're currently at now. And I got to exploring. I'm thinking, man, back when I used to use terms like squatchy, I got out there and started looking. Just for shits and giggles, And then that's when I started falling down that rabbit hole. My idea of wanting to find out where they came from how long have they been here? You know, listening to all these other stories about them being the Nephilim, or there being some type of chimera, some type of human hybrid that was developed by some type of alien race or by our government. And I'm thinking, the more I dug into it, the more I said, well, that can't be true, because the Native Americans have been, having interactions with them from, you know, for centuries. And even some of their stories say they were here before, well, the Sasquatch, the Sabe people were here before the Native Americans were. It's like, where did they come from? Yeah, I find it wild that they're all over the planet. You don't hear of them, you don't hear any stories of them in New Zealand or the Hawaiian Islands. You don't hear any of that. But they're everywhere else though. Why is it that when somebody comes along with some actual proof, there's stories of it getting buried? People come along and they talk about the Men in Black or the clean cut guy and the guy dressed like the guy off the brawny paper towel ad. Yep. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now, where I'm looking. There's so many, and a lot of Christians would like to deny this, but there's so many um, references to our Bible, stories from our Bible in Sumerian lore and their quote unquote mythology. Okay. And it's obvious that their stories came first. So it led me to question a lot. Oh yeah. Wow. And there's a lot I've got to look up. I'm still getting my feet wet. Guys, hold on just a second. I will be right back. All right, I'm sorry about that. It tends to happen around here. I wish I had a real studio, but, you know, I do not. Exactly, Ray. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. The Bible contains a lot from the Gilgamesh stories, and everything's parroted from Sumerian text. And there are Christians who would like for you to not believe that. I mean, yep. Um, the Bible is the new kid on the block. You're absolutely right, and that's the thing that really blows your mind. And another thing that really got me thinking about it. I mean, I've been actually wondering about it for a long time, and the reason why is this: I used to be a Green Bay Packer fan back when Brett Favre was a quarterback and Reggie White was, the center, and they were the heart and soul of that team. When Reggie, yeah, yeah, when Reggie retired, he went and he was already an ordained minister. When he wasn't playing football, he was preaching in church. When he retired, he decided, well, I'm going to do what I wanted to do for a long time, cross this one off my bucket list, and go to the promised land. And he started doing some reading and researching and looking and heavy looking, and it shook his foundations to the core. He said it changed the way he looked at things a lot. He was still a man of God, but it changed the way he looked at things because the veil had been lifted at that point. And when you're able to get access to the Dead Sea Scrolls, you're able to read all the information that contained therein, and then you're looking at Sumerian texts and comparing everything. It's like, my God. It's absolutely right. The unlearning that has to be done. There's a certain amount, and I hate to put it this way, but that's the only way I can put it. There's a certain amount of brainwashing that's been done. And it's been going on for centuries. Um, that's a there's a lot to unravel. A lot to unravel. People sit back and believe that Atlantis is a myth. Those who actually have heard of it these days. There are some people who don't even know what Atlantis is. A lost civilization, highly advanced, technological civilization that just was just gone. Many theories as to why. It's claimed the Great Flood was part of it, and I mean, the Great Flood is mentioned in the Bible and in the Genesis. there are scientific studies that are showing that it was real. Scientific studies saying, showing there are sea creatures that are found in Montana. Petrified fossils found in Montana of sea creatures. Yeah, Pangea. Excuse me a second. It'll take me a swallow of that. I have 1 can a day. Trying to get back on my diet. I need a little need a little help. The holidays ruined me. I need to have more people on the show to have a discussion about this. Everybody's been sick or just too busy to do it. My friend Buck, I'm going to ask him to come back on probably next week. I want him to talk about his own personal research on his field of study in college. He's a smart fella. He really is. Buck's a great guy. We sat down and talked. I mean, we met through this channel. I mean, he was responding. He saw my show. He watched my videos, and he responded to them, and we started chatting back and forth. And next thing you know, we're actually talking, corresponding, and we did a FaceTime. I know how much you like that, Ray. But it was kind of cool. And he was on my show here a while back, and I really want to have him back. And what you say there, the Egyptian artifacts found in the Grand Canyon, yeah, there are not just artifacts, there are hieroglyphs that have been found there, Egyptian hieroglyphs. So, I mean, what we're uncovering on our own, and it's one of those things, it's what this channel's all about, and what the show is all about. The Raven's Eye is about, gathering all this information, coming together, gathering the information, and dispersing it to the masses if we can. Sometimes we're looked at as that doomsayer on the street corner saying the end is nigh. I mean, we're not literally saying that, but that's how a lot of people will look at us. And like I said before, I really don't give a shit. You take with it, you take from it what you will. Those who watch the show, you take from it what you will. And if you don't believe, that's fine. If you want to laugh, that's fine. That's good. I'm glad I made you laugh. I'm hoping I made your day. Just make you chuckle. That this crazy bearded idiot believes all this crazy shit. But you know what? If there's any idea, any notion whatsoever that you think there could be some truth to it, Why don't you look it up? Why don't you do some digging on your own? Check it out. If you want that proof, I'm here to tell you, it's there. All you gotta do is look. Most of the people who faithfully tune into this channel, participate in the conversation, they know already. We're sharing information. I learn something every time I come on here. I learn something every time I come on here. I'm no expert. There's no experts. But you know, there's a saying, and it's in Proverbs. As iron sharpens iron, so should one man sharpen another. And that's what this is all about. Preparing ourselves. And this is a place where you can come and tell your story. This is a place where you don't have to fear of any type of ridicule, because there is none. If it's coming from anybody, it's going to come from the chat, and I'll go back and I'll take care of that. I don't want to be if it's constructive criticism, if it's inquiry, that's one thing. But if you're being a dickhead, you're done. There's no sense in that. Ray, you killed me. Absolutely, you don't scoff at it. At one point in time, I was of the mind of, when in doubt, throw it out. And that's a bad policy. You take an experience that's been told to you, you take some information that you've learned. If it don't fit somewhere, you file it away. I found that 9 times out of 10, somewhere along the line, you're going to find a little tidbit of information in the future that you can pull from the past and take a look and say, hey, this fits. Don't discount all this. I said it before and I'll say it again. I used to think people who talked about Bigfoot disappearing through portals was a joke. I used to look at them like they were nuts. That was my own hubris, my ego, my fallacy, whatever you want to call it. Me putting down other people because of their experience. I wasn't there. I don't know. And it made me look at real hard at my own experiences. It made me look really hard at what happened to me. And I got to say, when I say it out loud, how crazy it all sounds. So I've got to take other people's experiences and say, it's as crazy it sounds. It's probably happened. Until I know better, I've got to take a body's word for it. You can't discount this. You can't discount people, because when it comes right down to it, all we've got is one another. You're right. Sometimes we just aren't ready. There are people who just refuse to look at the truth, even when it's right in front of them, and they will walk away. It's like I said, they're not ready. They will just no. Bury my head in the stand. Nope. And that's the majority of people. That's the majority. They're not ready. Not even a little bit. If their hand isn't being held and they aren't being petted and told everything's all right, then they don't want to have anything to do with it. Being dumbed down and lied to is a form of control. And we've been prepped for that for a long time. Amen to that. I'm right there with you. Getting back to, the whole topic of our conversation is that there's information out there that we're not privy to. Why is that? Personally, the more I dive into it, the more I think it's all about control. Now, when you talk about, I'm going to segue into something here, and it's something that some people might have an interest in. I don't know. But there's a show, and Dylan, if you're watching, I want to thank you for this, for tuning me on to this. And this documentary, I talked about this a couple episodes back. It's called the Third Eye Spy. I'm talking about our government's involvement in studies of ESP, telekinesis, telepathy. How we're kept in the dark about these secrets. Remote viewing. Yes, Ray. Absolutely. Remote viewing was the highlight of that documentary. How one man could see into a top secret, highly secure facility like he was there. Thousands, not hundreds, but thousands of miles away. Exactly. So, the Soviet Union was heavy into that. This was a big push for the Cold War. And it wasn't about, we had enough nuclear armaments to destroy this planet 3 times over, or so I've been told. The big thing about the Cold War was information. Not assassination, not wars, but information. So you sit back and think, how much information is out there? how much information that we've paid hard-earned money to get. And let's face it, that's what it amounts to. We've paid hard-earned money to get this information, but we can't see it. These people say, no, you're not mature enough. Basically what they're saying, you're all a bunch of children. You're not mature enough. Okay. Yesterday, I pulled up some pulled up a website called Quoria. Let me see here. There we go. And this was from the question of, is the government covering up the existence of Bigfoot? And this one right here, this response right here is the most logical, in my opinion, to all of them. There's so much out there that we average citizens know nothing about. The government is wary of repercussions such knowledge would bring forth. History tends to repeat, and historically people take to the streets. Back in the 30s, when Orson Welles' broadcast of War of the Worlds played, there was a panic in American cities. The show has a disclaimer beforehand telling people it was a portrayal. The government had its job of protecting the citizens. For our own good, they cover up certain things. I personally believe that there are such creatures, and they are obviously smart enough to stay away from humans. This right here, for our own good, they cover up certain things. Well, I'm a big boy. I can take care of it. I can handle it. I know some people can't, but they'll just have to deal with it and get on with their life. That's exactly right. Biowarfare, and that's already been used. Now, Dr. Anthony Fauci, once again, testified in front of a Senate hearing about documents that have surfaced, government documents that have surfaced through an organization called Project Veritas that links him and several operatives of the U.S. government with the lab in Wuhan and the development of the COVID-19 virus. According to these documents, and this is out of the Senate hearing, I'm probably going to get pulled down. Just be wary. But according to these documents, the Pentagon had ideas about this. The people in the Pentagon said, leave this alone, it's too dangerous. But according to the documents, Fauci who's in charge of everything, said go ahead with it. He ignored it and went on. Hey, Rick. Glad you could come by, man. See, they keep changing the definitions of this, that, and the other. Um, for legal reasons, to save their ass. These scumbags. These lying pieces of shit are the reason why we're in the mess we're in. And you've got to sit back and ask yourself this question. They're willing to lie about this. They're ready and willing to let the world burn to save their own ass. How hard would it be for them to cover up the existence of an unknown race of people that's living wild in nature? Rick, you're absolutely right. Gates wasn't the only one who funded Fauci. Yeah, I saw that. I saw where the NCAA changed the definition of vaccination. It's they keep changing the goalposts. We're living in very interesting times. Very interesting. And if you're able to look at it that way, you might actually be able to save a little bit of sanity. I used to post a lot to Facebook. I used to, promote this channel on Facebook. I haven't promoted this channel on Facebook in months. For the most part, Facebook is a cesspool, just like a lot of these other social media platforms. And it's a dying platform too. So, what you gonna do? I mean, there's so much we could get into that leads to the cover up of what we know to be true when it comes to things of the paranormal. Because I mean, that's what I'd rather talk about. I'd rather not talk about things political, but I'm sorry, but that's where it all comes down to. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to take a quick break. I will be right back. All right. Fauci is the science. Yes. That's what he claims. That's what he claims. He said, I am the science. You should have seen the way he was acting in that Senate hearing. If you haven't watched it, you should see some of the highlights where Rand Paul was giving him the business. That's great. That's great. Think that Sasquatch teamed up with the gray aliens to use the chupacabra to help Fauci, who is a puckwudgie in disguise. That's awesome. Oh, the all-you-can-eat stretch pants. I know. God, I've been eating myself into another pant size. I will if I'm not careful. Yeah, it's awful. Oh, so let's see. There we go. And this is a lot of stuff I wanted to cover last night. I was really on a roll, but my internet cut out on me, and next thing you know, I wasn't on anymore. What a burger! I've never heard of that. What a burger. Are they good? They sound like it. It's the shit. I could go for a big cheeseburger right now, man. I stay hungry all the time. I'm like a damn bottomless pit. I must have a tapeworm or something. Do I arm myself with a hatchet or knife or snake? I do have it. I do carry a hatchet with me when I'm actually going out. I also have a pistol on my hip. Yeah, I carry a knife with me at all times. Shut up. Y'all funny. Y'all funny. See. Oh, well, shoot. Mogul on Monsters live tonight. Let's see. Let's take a look at something here. See if I can pull it up. See if he'll come up. See, okay. Here's another thing, another cog in the wheel of deception. Media. They're going out of their way to defend that monster, Anthony Fauci. They're going out of their way to defend him. Sorry, I keep looking over here, but I got a dog that's trying to get after a cat. Not in a mean way. She's just aggravating. I got a German Shepherd that she doesn't have a mean bone in her body. She looks vicious, but she's not in the slightest. So, but she'll let me know when something's coming along. It's her brother that you got to worry about. his bite's about as bad as his bark. It's pretty vicious. And that's what I want, and I will not apologize for it. The Clinton News Network, that's exactly right. What is it Mad Dog Maddox used to say? You should carry a knife with you at all times because you never know when you might have to slit a throat or cut some cheesecake. Unbelievable. But I carry a knife with me at all times. All times. It's a good tool. It's a little pocket knife. I don't know if you can see it or not. Turn it around here. Yeah. See that end right there? It's got the glass breaking tool, the seat belt cutter, half serration on the blade, the belt clip. My wife got this for me for my birthday quite a few years ago, and I carry it with me everywhere. It's a handy dandy tool. Handy dandy tool. And I do carry a hatchet with me in a backpack with certain stuff. So you carry a buck. Absolutely. I've got a good one that I carry when I'm serious about getting out there. It's a Case XXX Pawnee. My late dad gave it to me. It's almost a Bowie. Not quite, but almost. Right? No, I believe in protecting myself. Wholeheartedly believe it. Totally believe in it. more reasons than one. Well, more things than one than I carry. I carry my pistol on my hip, which I'm licensed for, which is ridiculous that you have to get licensed for that. I carry a knife at all times. When I leave this house, 5'1". Absolutely. You know what they say? God made man, but Sam Colt made him equal. And then, I talked to a lot of people about, the Second Amendment. I'm a big 2A guy, and I believe everybody should be able to carry. I believe everybody should have their own firearms, and they shouldn't be limited to what type of firearms they have. There are other people who are like, oh no. There are people who have a Barrett, or a big 50 cal submachine gun or a tank in their yard. Well, I'll let them have it. Let them have it. Who gives a shit? It's our right. The Constitution says that our right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And the fact that people roll over and show their belly to these duplicitous fucks and give their freedoms away readily disturbs the shit out of me. The 9mm is a really easy going weapon, and the advancements in bullet technology has made it a very adequate weapon for most situations. When it comes down to bullet expansion, a 9mm can do a severe amount of damage, shock trauma, and it has a lot more stopping power than it used to. But I still carry a 45 because flying ashtray does a lot of damage. Absolutely. Me and your dad would have gotten along immensely. If I'm ever put in a situation where I have to pull my firearm, I'm using it. There's no playing. There's no take backsies. This is what's happening, and you got to mentally prepare for it every time you walk out the door, because once you take on that responsibility to carry that firearm on your side, you're responsible for your life and everyone's life around you at that point. And there's an old saying, an armed society is a polite society. I'm not afraid to love a man, ain't afraid to shoot him either. Yep, a 45 ACP is, when I bought it, I carry concealed a full-size 45 ACP. People say, how do you do that? I need a little compact thing. No. But when I go out in the woods, I'm armed all the time. And it used to be when I went out there, I had the mindset of I'm armed because I need to protect myself from Sasquatch, blah blah blah. Okay, yeah. So yeah, there is that, but mainly it's for other humans, and because people be crazy these days. People are crazy. You get out in the woods in the middle of nowhere, you just never know. You never know. Especially on government land. So, yeah. Oh, me. 12:35. What the hell? Um, I talked about. I'm talking about before about going back to StreamYard. Um, and I'm probably going to do that if I have guests, but I really like this platform I'm using right now. I'm able to switch back through a lot of stuff. A 45 is a lot of gun to carry. Um, I don't know. It's all in your preference, though. It's what you feel comfortable with. I mean, I've seen small frame women carry around a Ruger Blackhawk on their hip. A 44 Magnum is a lot. Yeah, the Smith & Wesson 500 Magnum. Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, it's a beast. Carry around that. Mm-hmm. It's a guide gun. Oh, I'll carry around a guide gun too sometimes. It all depends on what type of activity is going on out there. And I've got a Marlin 1893 4570 government. Got the big loop. It's a nice weapon. Nice rifle. .45 Colt. That's a good round too. They've souped it up over the years. $110 guns. An old friend who passed away several years ago, between him and his dad, that's probably about what they had, maybe even more than that. They had, I wish I could have took a picture of it. They had a walk-in vault built into their house because my buddy's dad was a contractor and they built the house. He built the house and he put a gun vault in his house, and it's like something you'd see in a movie. And I went over to his house. I'll never forget it for the first time. And he said, "Come here, Lee. I want to show you this." I'm like, okay. All right, take a look at this. Because he had this laugh, man. And he opened up this door, and we walked in there. I'm like, holy shit. I mean, it was a horseshoe. It was like a walk-in closet. Most women have a walk-in closet lined with shoes and clothes. This was rifles, pistols, and assorted other goodies. It's like, holy shit. Well, yeah, it was pretty awesome. 110, that's about right. That's a lot of firearms. That's a lot of firearms. I think everybody should have at least that. I think everybody needs a walk-in gun vault. Exactly. That's what it reminded me of. Uh, oh, Commando. That's what it was like, man. Yeah. Well, when you've got that many firearms, you gotta protect them. Have them stowed throughout the house. You're never with as far away from maybe 2 feet from one. That's as farthest as you're away from a firearm in your house. And growing up, we used to reload our own ammunition. My next door neighbor casts his own bullets when he can. He was telling me lead is getting hard to come by. Um, he's got his own casts and everything. Hard cast lead bullets. Um, he loads them for 308 mostly. Hell, I'd like for him to load some from my 4570. I've got a couple of powder loads that would put it in the Magnum category, and about 460 grains. A 460 grain hard cast lead bullet. It's pretty nasty. Good times. Grew up around firearms. Didn't have to worry about nothing. And I've said it before. I can leave my pistol out around my son, and he don't fool with it. You don't need to. He knows the difference. I used to worry about it because some of the video games I've let him play, but he's shown me that he at a young age of 8, he knows the difference between reality and fantasy as far as that's concerned. His first experience with any type of death was our family dog, Rocky. He passed away over a year ago now, and he wasn't a pet. I mean, he was a member of the family, and when he passed away, it hurt us all deeply. And he still talks about it, and he understands that death is permanent. There's, I mean, sometimes you come back and visit, but a lot of people don't understand that. But yeah, he knows the difference. He knows the difference. I'm proud of him for that. Most time he's hard to wrangle, but that right there I don't have to worry about. And everything we've been talking about tonight, I constantly worry about him and his future. What has he got in store for him down the line? What kind of legacy is society leaving him and his peers? It just bugs the shit out of me. That's why I get so fired up about it. It's just, I don't know. Wow. I'm going to try and air some of this, but I don't know if I should or not. But well, I don't know what's going to become of all this. I mean, you've got we've got so many enemies out here that you know that a firearm ain't going to take care of. It's that's knowledge. It's our way to work around the system. Getting back to firearms and what you're saying. When you said it's different being raised around it, you're absolutely right because you don't know anything different. When you're taught from the get go that firearms are a tool, they're not to be feared, they're to be respected, just like any other tool. I mean, hell, hammers and chisels are are dangerous tools. Saws are dangerous tools. Pneumatic nail guns are dangerous tools. Yeah, I wouldn't. Rick, I'm telling you, man, I wouldn't be surprised if the Fenrir wolf showed up in somebody's neighborhood. The Midgard serpent come out somewhere. You talking about a 22? Yeah. But there's a lot of dead people in this world due to a 22, unfortunately. But yeah, a weapon's a weapon. I have a friend I went to school with. He became a paraplegic because of that. It was a hunting accident. Him and a buddy of his were hunting turkey. It was real tragic. So it's that Thanksgiving and Christmas electric knife. The kitchen danger zone. Yeah. Lord have mercy. I've only used an electric knife once in my life, I'll be honest with you. Um my former brother in law's wife had one and I had to use that to carve a turkey on Christmas and it was slick, but man, it takes some getting used to. It's a reciprocating saw. And I kept it sharp too. It had that wave on the blade where it's like almost a serration, but it wasn't. It was great, but like I said, I only used one once. Oh, me lordy. I gotta see if there's anybody who wants to come on the show Friday night. Eric, Ray, you're the ones in the chat. Who else is watching? Come on in here and sit down around the fire with us and have a little conversation. We're just going to wind things down a little bit and just talk about random stuff. Lurkers. Well, go ahead and let them lurk. Hopefully they'll learn something. The whole point is hopefully maybe somebody will come along and watch this show and listen to me and read what you guys have to say and, walk away with a tad bit of knowledge that they can actually do something with. Hopefully. It'd be nice. I'd like to have a lot more people in the chat. I notice that if I slack off for a little while, people tend to just kind of wander off. But there's a lot of people who've been on tonight. Mugalon's been on. Paranormal Portal's been on. So, a lot of competition out there for viewers. Most people will come along after my show's over with to take a look and see what's going on. Midnight in Atlanta, what a burger. There's actually 4 folk tuning in. That's good. Hop on in the chat. Come on, say something. I am going to discuss this with my better half about pumping up the StreamYard account from going from the free version to the paid version. There's a lot more in the way of customization and things you can do with that version than say with the free version. Make it look more streamlined and more professional. If I can figure out how to get guests on here, using this platform, I most certainly would, because I really do like the way this is set up. But I'd like to have more people on so we can have a really good conversation. My dog, man. Good Lord. So anybody is tuning in late, go back and there's pretty good information you might find in this video. You can. Oh, it's great. Yeah, last night I was just running off at the mouth. My gums just a flapping. I realized I'm talking to nobody. What the hell's going on? And I get it shows up in my chat box that the stream has been interrupted. I'm like, Really? Really? I did not do anything out of the way. And I look and my internet's out. I'm sure a lot of people tuned in just to see what happened. Did somebody take him down again? Always something, some type of stupid drama, man. Always some type of stupid drama. Yeah. Yeah. For 6.5 hours, that stream went on. I got up probably about, it was a little after 7 this morning. It was a little after 7 this morning, and I noticed that it's a superpower. I noticed the internet was back on. I had to come in here and manually switch everything off. I tried to do it through my phone, but I couldn't. It won't let you do it. I had to get in here through my computer and do it. I remember doing my first live stream on my phone through StreamYard. Um, you guys showed up for that one too. You guys have been showing up for a while. I couldn't log out. I could not log out. So, I mean, it was 6.5 hours from start to finish, from the time I was actually able to get logged back on and turn everything off. It was 6.5 hours, 6.5 hour long stream. It's crazy. But it's corrected itself now. It says it was only 47 minutes and 57 seconds. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah. I went back again and rewatched that episode, and I mean, she let the world know about what goes on in Congress, and the Senate, especially in the Senate where she's at, and how many duplicitous people are in there. So, I mean, she's run her own business for 20 some years, and her and her husband, apparently they bought the construction company from her parents, and they've run it. And she said she got into politics because she was tired of seeing how phony politicians were, and how they didn't give a damn about their constituents. You know, the people who voted for them didn't freaking matter. Once they got into office, it was all about that green, baby. They're in there. And so she got in there, and she's been kicking the hornet's nest ever since. But Timcast IRL, I highly recommend it. And that one particular episode, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and like I said, it wasn't long after that, because he had her on there. He's been targeted hardcore now. He's been swatted once. He's come over a DDoS attack, a cyber attack. I mean, it was a heavy hitter. They're seriously coming after him now for actually just having her on the show. Yeah, you're right, Ray. You're right. And it's been that way for a long time. Oh, See how bad this screws things up. I have to hit the refresh on the. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it says 4 watching the stream. There are 57 watching Mogulon's stream. Have any of you ever watched Spaced Out Radio? It's pretty good. Oh, Ray, you killing me. You had to buy his jock strap. That's funny. Once or twice. That's great. The Spaced Out Radio, they're they have a lot of guests on there. They cover everything from paranormal, kind of like we do. They do pretty good. It's pretty informative. I like it. They have a lot of good guests on there. A lot of good guests. You know who I would love to get on here? MK. I would love to get MK Davis on here, but I kind of doubt he'd come on here. See, I mean, hell, he doesn't know me from Adam. He might. I don't know. I could ask him. I mean, I'm friends with him on Facebook. That don't mean shit, but at least I've got a contact with him. Somebody else who I'd love to get on here, Ron Moorhead. I mean, I'd love to pick his brain. Just have a conversation with him. Hell, I probably wouldn't know what to say once he got on here. Freeze up. But yeah, I'd love to have MK on here. He'd be a good one to have on here. Love to get down and dirty about all the conspiracy about Bluff Creek. Because I don't know if you guys were privy to this or not, especially when it come to and I'm sure you guys are familiar with the Bigfoot Outlaws. There are people in that camp who were ready to say bye to MK. It was crazy. They called him crazy because everything that he said about what went on there, what he was told what went on there, and what he discovered by, going through film footage. A can of film footage that he got from Roger Patterson's wife. So, and I've seen a lot of the film footage that he's actually went through and redone digitally and enhanced to bring everything out, the sharpness, clearness, make it better. But he hadn't taken away from anything. He hadn't added to anything. He's just sharpened it up, cleaned it up, and made it better. And a lot of people accuse him of doctoring footage and all this, that, and the other. And you just hold it up, and you watch the footage that he's cleaned up and brightened up, sharpened up. You run it alongside the original footage, and you're like, well, it's no different. other than the fact that you can really tell what's in there now. Shutter come down. Damn it, man. Whoa. Oh. Yeah, there's a lot of people who have their reservations about MK. And it's because everything he said about Bob and Bob Gimlin and Roger Patterson, and how the Patty film came about. That whole conspiracy. I mean, I can't say one way or the other. I really can't. But there's other people out there who are credible. And Bobby Short. You really, really do need to check out Steve Isdall's videos that he put out when he read these letters, where she interviewed the Cheyenne guy. And she interviewed him over the telephone. I think that's, if I'm not mistaken. And somebody dictated everything. The Bigfoot Outlaws. I don't know if you are you familiar with Jim Bear King. Everybody calls him Bear. Kumbo Baker. He used to be a member of the Outlaws. There was a whole shitload of drama that went over that. What happened, more or less, is you got two guys that are full of themselves and got big heads and think they're God's gift to the Bigfoot community. It's one like to brag about himself, one like to talk too much, and it's just, they've been together for a long time. They've been friends for a long time, and one decides to stab the other in the back and drag a lot of other people along for the ride, and it was awful. It's just a mess. But there are people in that bunch. The Outlaws are a big community. Me, I like to say I have a fellowship. The Ravens Outpost has a fellowship. Not a community, a fellowship. I like that much better. Rick, when you say you think he got full of himself, are you talking about MK? Yeah, his work with the Patterson Gimlin footage is phenomenal. This is a fellowship, man. I love interacting with the people in chat. And Ray, Rick, you are two the staples here. I do appreciate you hanging out with me every night that I'm on. Sorry about last night. I mean, it was a situation beyond my control. There was nothing I can do. But as soon as I could, first thing I did was get on the horn and let you guys know what was going on. I had to get a hold of you through this. I could interact through chat that way, but no, computer locked up and everything. It's a shit show. We're over the 2 hour mark now. And it is 1:10 in the morning. I have got to get up early and put a kid on a school bus in the morning. So I'm going to have to wrap things up. Once again, I'd like to thank Eric and Ray for coming through here and hanging out with me tonight, and all of you who come by to say hi, dropped in for a minute or two. Dylan, if you're still watching, hey, I love you and I miss you, son. Holler at me when you can. Everybody else who tunes in after the fact, I appreciate you coming by. This channel's growing a little bit. It's hovering right around the 290 some mark, and I would love to see this channel reach 1,000 subs. The more people, the merrier. And if you've liked what you've heard, you hit that like button. If you really like what you hear and want to come back by, hit the subscribe button and ring that little notification bell. And maybe you'll get a notification that I'm coming online and we're going live. And maybe you can hop on and be part of the conversation. That's what this channel's all about. It's all about the conversation. It's, like I say, it's one, as iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another, and that's what the Ravens Outpost is all about. And the live series, the Raven's Eye, which you're watching right now, it's like I said, a fellowship of individuals who may not be so much like-minded, but informed, and who I would love to have in chat and interview and sit around and just have a conversation, because the more we figure out on our own, the better off we are. So Friday night, I should be going live again and trying to keep myself on schedule. Tonight's a rare thing because I was interrupted last night because of unforeseen circumstances that were beyond my control once again. And I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. And so, Rick, Ray, hopefully see you tomorrow night right around the same time. I'm going to try to get on about 11-ish. So, once again, everybody who tunes in after the fact, thank you for tuning in. And I love you, mean it.